Troy Deeney, Watford legend these days, top broadcaster, is with us. Hi, Troy.
Hello, gents. How you doing? You
Very
okay?
good.
Very nice intro, by the way.
I know, good
Well,
build-up,
Troy-
isn't it? You've got to live up to that now.
Troy, you've got a very easy task here, because normally you do the first 15 minutes, then they throw to me, and I tell jokes about the football for about 30 minutes afterwards on a normal Monday. So all you've got to do is do better than my jokes over the next 30 minutes or so. Let's start with two teams that, of course, love to be part of the traditional Big Six. Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. And Troy, I guess Arsenal are a big, powerful team, good at set pieces and hard to break down. You could argue United were a better football team on the day.
I don't think it'd be an argument. I think you'd be hard-pressed for any Arsenal fan to say that they were the better team.
Well, the manager said it.
Yeah, well, yeah, he also tries to claim the Charity Shield as a massive trophy, so we'll leave that one alone. But no, I just think Arsenal were what you expected. Big, strong, organised. Still a little bit rusty in terms of that fluidity in the midfield. I was listening to Martin Keown earlier. I thought he nailed it. Zubimendi was left on his own a lot. But for Man United, there was so many shoots of recovery that you should be very impressed. I think if I was Ruben Amorim, I'd be buzzing that the keeper made that mistake, because I'd walk straight into the office afterwards and say, any chance in trying to put a few more quid up for Donnarumma?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
Yeah,
it must be a possibility, because Paris are desperate to get rid, and he's there. You know, he looks like, we described him last night on Trans Europe Express, Troy. We described him as the world's best unwanted player. Donnarumma. I mean, if you think what he did in the latter stage of the Champions League, for the fact that nobody seems to want him is nuts. Just an interesting.
And the fact he's only 26 as well.
Yeah.
I think people think he's 35. He's
because he's been around since he was Italian goalkeeper at 18, and he's got that slightly thinning hair, none of which is helping him, is it?
I'll tell you what's good news for England, though. Luke Shaw. I've never seen him look so trim.
Good.
I mean, he must have
very good.
He's dropped quite a bit of weight, and they've
really got a struggle at left back at the moment. I mean, that's why I think Jed Spence's got every chance to get into the next England squad. Just a wider thing about Arsenal, Troy, if I may, leaving Timber and Lewis Skelly on the bench and opting for 4 centre-halves across the back. I mean, the Premier League, obviously, in the last 2 years has just got bigger and bigger and more powerful and more powerful. But that really is a statement, isn't it, about what kind of players they're going to try and go through the season with?
No, I think that's his favourite back four. He did that a lot last year. Just for injuries, he had to change it. I saw a lot with Arteta where he looks at that back five, including the goalkeeper, and says, this is everything I've got. This is what I'm going to build the foundations off. Again, a lot of chat. I said it probably a couple of months ago now. Gyökeres, for me, is not the answer. I know it's only one game in and people say he's rusty. But if you look at his movement, the way he was running, again, there was an incident where he went through 1v1 and stands on the ball. It's just, for me, I think you're going to see, and I've said it in the column in The Sun on the weekend, you're going to see Havertz start more games than you will Gyökeres over the course of the season.
Really? I think the problem for Arteta is if he doesn't win it, because if they finish second or third playing this sort of basically higher class, crazy game, Wimbledon style football, I think the
fans won't just say Stoke, will they?
I think they'll have it. No, I think they'll have it. Fans will have had enough of it.
Do you not think they're already saying it though, chaps?
Well, winning is everything. If they won the league, then people would say, well, who cares how we got it? We've won it, and that's all they'll care about. But if they don't win it, it'll be different.
And not being funny, but I am from North London, so I'm entitled to say this. The laser beam of Spurs winning the Europa League that pointed at their 5 years without a trophy, suddenly all of that is very much in play. Let's move on to Nottingham Forest 3, Brentford 1. Forest with a lot of new players and more coming in today, we're hearing. And Brentford, the opposite, kind of had a drain of talent, both at managerial and playing level, Troy. Andy's worried about Brentford. Do you share his concerns?
Yeah, and I think Keith does as well, Keith Andrews. I think, he's not a silly man. I think he can see optically it doesn't look great. I'm actually working Brentford Aston Villa at the weekend, and this time last year, that would have been a great game to go watch. This weekend, I'm thinking, oh my God, this could be a 0-0. So I'm hoping that hopefully they do a little bit better. But I think, for Brentford, a lot of changes. I imagine they're going to go and get 3 and 4 players in. But they operate a shoestring, don't they? They don't expect to go and spend 50, 60, 70 million on players. So they're going to have to see what comes later in the window. And then for Forest, that actually really surprised me. I thought Forest would be a little bit more, take a while to get going. But I think Brentford played into their hands. And it's great to see Chris still scoring, obviously.
It's interesting, Troy, from a player's point of view. I mean, I noticed in the Villa game and there were other games, the players did look rusty. They just did. The touch isn't there, is it? I don't know whether, obviously not every City looked pretty good, but a lot of players do struggle in early season, don't they?
Yeah, and again, it depends on what your summer was like. Did they play internationals? Did they go away and actually have a break because it's their only year? In the first 3 years, they've actually had a break. I think it's also difficult for people to understand. Pre-season gets you fit physically, doesn't get you match fit, doesn't get you ball ready fit, doesn't give you the intensity and the emotional excitement that you get from opening day. So for me, it used to take 3 to 5 games to be at my best. And if I could nick a few goals in them early games, then I was happy. But I knew 3 to 5 games, I'd be at 100%.
Well, a couple of things, isn't there? Their preparations now are not a proper pre-season. Spurs have been all over the world playing games. They went from the Far East to Munich to the blinking Super Cup final. That is not a proper preparation, but that's part of it. The other part, of course, is deliberate. They want to round the players into form now for the middle and latter parts of the season. The trouble is that since Mourinho set the bar much higher for the number of points you can drop, you need to start well as well.
You have to start well in the Premier League. You have to accumulate points, otherwise you're going to be in trouble.
The good starters this weekend were Manchester City, who went to Molineux, Troy, and won by 4 goals to 0. I guess a result, looking at the way Wolves have been and the players they've lost, and of course the real big re-up, to use what the youth would have been saying about 10 years ago, in Manchester City, both in January and again now. This was a form result in some ways. City looked good.
Yeah, but I think Wolves also looked good to a point in the first half. They had a few scares. Still think that manager's excellent for Wolves. I have this feeling, lads, that I don't like to say, but I think he's going to walk away. I can see that manager, if he doesn't get backed the way he needs to keep that team competitive, I think he'll walk away from it. I really do. City are great. Again, a lot of people who haven't watched much Serie A last season or the season before, like I have, don't know much about Reinders, but he's a fantastic player. He's naturally a 10. He's only dropped back because, they haven't got Rodri in there and he's doing a bit more of a defensive job. But the feet he showed and the little flicks and the finishing, because I think he got 16 goals last season in Serie A.
Yeah.
So he's a fantastic player. But I think he's one that went under the radar for a lot of people because they didn't know much about him. But he's going to be a wonderful, wonderful addition. And then you've got the likes of Cherki coming off the bench, Marmoush coming off the bench. It feels like a real team. But that one area for Man City that will always be the case, how long will Rodri be fit for? Yeah. If he's not fit, they can't win the league.
Yeah, well,
a revitalised Manchester City would be right up there, no question. Oscar Bob,
he'll be there. They can still finish second.
I thought, after his injury-disrupted season, he's a real prospect, that guy.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.